Hello, welcome to Day One Patch Podcast, episode 327. I'm your host, Ryan Johnson. Matt Lawrence is here.
I was, yeah.
You what? You were?
What?
Yeah, I'm getting out of here. You guys are talking about Overwatch too much before the show.
Oh, before the show, yeah. Adrian Petty's here.
Hi.
And Tim is off streaming.
He had to go to the doctor after I ran over his feet.
Jeez.
In a matter of 15 seconds, you've told two lies on this podcast.
Some of the top stories include BlizzCon or BlizzConline just occurred. The opening.
It's a very difficult thing to say.
BlizzConline?
Yeah, it's BlizzCon and online, so you say together BlizzConline.
Yeah.
A 1 out of 5.
Yeah. So that happened today. Some pretty big announcements there, especially for Overwatch. But Overwatch didn't make an appearance at the opening video, but they had their own thing, and it was a lot of new details. Also, Nintendo had their Direct, first time in a long time, I think. And I would say mixed reviews on the Direct.
I completely forgot about it, too. I meant to watch it, and then I was upset when he told me about it because I really wanted to.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And speaking of Nintendo, they've also begun to discuss the next console potentially and what comes after the Switch. And then also, Silent Hill could be getting 2 reboots.
It sounds like they're not confident in the one.
I'm not sure what that means. Are they rebooting? Are they making 2 games in the reboot?
Or are they... Well, Silent Hill did have, like... Well, actually, wait, Adriano, did it change genres at all?
Genres, no. Playstyles, yes.
Because I'm wondering whether they're going to do... I was going to say genres, but playstyles works too. Like maybe 2 different playstyles then, if it's 2 games.
Yeah, like it's already been rebooted once. Like there are 2, like Devil May Cry. I'm kind of loud here and turn myself down slightly. Like Devil May Cry, there was at one point 2 separate Silent Hill quote unquote franchises running at the same time. Like that Silent Hill on the Wii, Shattered.
I remember playing that one.
Yeah.
Shattered Memories or Shattered Dimensions or something like that.
That is not part of the mainline Silent Hill games. That's actually a reimagining of the original story and just told again, but in a new take. And they've just kind of took liberties with it. So those are actually not part of the same canon, I guess, whatever you want to fucking call it. And then there was the Silent Hills famous PT thing. So they're having a few different iterations of Silent Hill. So it doesn't surprise me that they're talking about like another reboot, but yeah, 2 of them is kind of weird.
Do you remember we tried to record the first one?
Yeah, I learned something interesting about the PlayStation hardware that day.
That was crazy. Yeah. It kept like turning off.
Yeah.
And then our like, just for the audience, and we were like, so it would be like we were using Elgato, an older one now because this was years ago. We had a PS2 connected to it because we had the SD HD model of the Elgato. So we're like, okay, we're just gonna play it on PS2. That's the easiest way to play it. Whatever. We go to boot it up, and every time it transitioned, I think it would like turn off, and we would miss like. I don't know, 30 seconds of footage because it takes a while for the Elgato to come back on, and we thought the Elgato was broken. When it cuts to black, it's cutting the video feed.
Yeah, so I noticed I didn't say anything initially when we were playing it, and you were cutting from game to menu, and because I noticed that it was taking a slightly longer than I remember. I was just like, if I could tap my foot to it, like I know I would be off because I don't remember taking that long to transition from game to menu to screen. And it wasn't until we were looking at the thing that I realized, like, oh, there's actually 2 different resolutions that's happening between the menu and the game. And turns out when it dips to black in that half second, the video card on the PlayStation must change. Like, it just like changes output and it comes back up. And it was fucking up the recording. And it's like, okay, that makes sense in hindsight, yeah.
And it worked, and it's not like it was the card acting up either, because we used that thing for years, like even into our streaming of it, which was, I would say, 5-ish more years. I'd say we used that thing, or 5-ish years total, even still. So like, yeah, just bizarre. Like old analog tech, I guess, back then, the way they used to do stuff.
So we'll get into all that. But with first, what's new, Matt?
Me,
Yeah, Matt.
I have had a week, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Just doing the general sort of doing a little bit of Fallout 76, doing my daily op, doing the Fastnaut event that's on. Terrible rewards this time because the reward pool has grown again. And I haven't gotten any of the new rewards, and I've only seen 2 people have the new reward so far. I'm sure there's a bunch out there, but I've only seen 2 personally. So there's that whole thing. I did get 1 good piece of armor from it, although it's not from my build, but I will keep it on hold in my stash for when the perk layouts or perk, whatever the heck they call them, perk loadouts come out. So that's one thing that I'm looking at, or special loadouts. But I've just been doing the 76. I haven't really done even any building in 76. I've just been doing some housekeeping. I did do a little bit of Tropico 6, actually. Been playing the Tropico 6 multiplayer a little bit, and on PC. And pretty good. Pretty damn good. Pretty fun. So I know that we played Tropical 4 years ago on the PS4. And it was really buggy. We kept having save issues, and we tried different people too and everything, different hosts, and it just wasn't working out. Saves wouldn't load and things wouldn't save and crashes and every other damn thing. But when we played it, it was like one island, if I remember correctly, and we just had to like build on this one island and kind of make our own borders. That's not how it works anymore. So you can choose maps with multiple islands. Each player gets their own island, and if let's say there's 8 islands and 2 players, you can just go and claim other islands. Now I haven't done that part yet, but I have sort of I don't know if you guys remember, but I have sort of beaten the eras. So there's sort of like the colonial age, the Cold War age, the et cetera, et cetera. So I've been playing it for like a bit, and I'm at the point now where basically I'm either like trying to get to the modern age or I'm in the modern age, and I've just become like a big tourist town, basically. So I reached a point in which I'm like a fully open in this game there's like more factions than I remember in the other ones, so like you kind of have to like balance the relationship. So I have like a fully like open sort of policy. So everybody's allowed to vote. Everyone's like, no one's oppressed, because I want my tourists to be happy in the game. And basically I am like balancing all these factions. There's like the religious faction, the capitalist, the industrialist, the environmentalist, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm balancing all of those. And what's really cool is like you can like siphon money off. Like you can still do the typical like Tropico shit. So you can like siphon money off to a Swiss account, pay people off and stuff like that. So like that's sometimes how I keep people happy. I always have like a card to play, like a big tax cut that I can play. But yeah, like that's kind of where I'm at. You know, typical just like, you know, ridiculous Tropico stuff where you're just like so corrupt that like even when you're not corrupt, you're doing something corrupt to not be corrupt, which is kind of what I'm doing in that game currently.
Game made for Matt Lawrence.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I don't know. I've been having a really good time with it on PC. So that's been a ton of fun. And yeah, I'm just basically, I think I'm probably pretty close. I probably could do it now, but I'm probably pretty close to being able to start another outpost. Now, whether that, I do know that from what I've read from the description of the game, that you can build bridges. So it's like the maps are big, but like the islands aren't super far away. So like you can build bridges between the different islands. So I don't know whether by taking over another island, do I have to go from like the colonial stage back up, or is it like I just get more land, sort of like a roller coaster tycoon type of deal? I don't know. But yeah, so I've been having a blast doing that. I have another save where I am like an oppressive dictator. I've been trying to like play the different things, and that is a damn hard way to play. Getting my ass kicked, poor as hell. It's difficult. But yeah, so yeah, I've been playing that quite a bit, and I did a little bit of Watch Dogs. So Watch Dogs Legion, like I said, starting to get a little bit fatigued of the gameplay loop. Like I said before, and I really wanted to get into more of the main story stuff, because the main story stuff seemed to, at least at the point that I'm at, break up the monotony. I did not do that yet. However, yesterday I did turn on a podcast and just sort of clean up the map, so kind of more of the monotony, but just to sort of clean it up. And I finished one of the burrows, and I got a bunch of tech points and stuff, so I can upgrade myself for when I play it next. But yeah, it was mostly just a little bit of Tropico, like one really long session of Tropico and Fallout, and then a little bit of Watch Dogs. So that was it.
That was the latest Tropico?
Yeah, I think yes. Yeah, so I have
How
Tropico.
much different is it from the one we played?
We played 4, and I'm playing 6 El Presidente edition. Yeah, so yeah, the game is ridiculous. Like it's supposed to be totally ridiculous.
It knows what it is.
It knows what it is. Like it's like a totally like a parody almost of a game. But yeah, it's great. So that's been my week as El Presidente, as Mateo, as I name my president.
Oh, Matt, don't ever
Adriano?
change. Same kind of rotation from last. There's a couple games that I want to start. I just haven't had time to start it. But Diablo 3, Overwatch, Dead Cells, Assassin's Creed Syndicate. Not much further than that. I did some Star Wars Squadrons, some Sea of Thieves, which I've actually been playing quite a bit of, even not with you guys. I've just been kind of doing some random.
You kept playing after we left last time.
Yeah, somebody sunk our ship after we all disbanded, and then.
So you didn't get away?
Oh no, he didn't kill me. I was just stranded on the island. Oh. Like I literally watched him. I as soon as I took that screenshot and I sent it to you guys, I literally watched him just row up to the back of the ship, take a barrel, jump in the water, and so he was just out of sight of me. And then all of a sudden I just hear, "Choom!" and just the entire ship just went up. Just it got rocked, and then it sank a couple minutes later. Like he I don't know if he knew I was there, but he did not give a shit about me. He literally I watched him sail up, pick up the barrel, jump in the water, and then explode. And that was it. I almost wish I had recorded it. It was really funny to watch. And then Hearthstone. I've every goddamn day. That's pretty much it.
I definitely forgot to mention the Sea of Thieves because that was a full night of craziness. Man, we killed two skeleton galleons. We fought 2 other of the skeleton sloops, but like in a disabled state. We attacked and killed a kraken for the first time. Like we never killed a skeleton galleon, at least I haven't. 2 of those down. Now a kraken's dead. We chased after players. We took out that one guy that had like a copious amount of skulls, which was really bizarre. Crazy.
Oh man, I felt bad for doing what we did, but at the same time, it felt great because I've been on that receiving end of it. And for once, it was nice to be the dominant force, just taking somebody else's treasure.
It was what I liked about it too was it was really monotonous. Like it was really action packed when he showed up to the island. We were all like sneaking around and getting ready and stuff. And then it was like a little bit of a skirmish, and then we decided to give chase. And the chase was like really monotonous. But then there was like a really great payoff where he tried to do a diversion with a dinghy, and that completely failed. And then like. And then we just jumped in and took him out, and then his ship sank. So just like a crazy like Captain Jack Sparrow type of story, basically.
As for myself, bit of a weird selection of games. I had purchased the original Borderlands, started playing that.
Okay.
It's such an odd feeling game.
What the hell?
Wait. Hold on. Shall I propose this? Matt?
No.
Every Borderlands, every mission, every expansion. Yeah? Huh?
No.
Come on? Huh?
This has been offered several times.
All right. So, okay, go ahead, Ryan. Sorry.
The first one feels so lonely, and there's something odd about the atmosphere in that game. I'm not sure what it is.
It's I hear that from a lot of people who went and replayed it, but I don't feel like I would probably agree with that if I were to replay, but I don't remember it being like that. Like I just remember it being like number 2.
Also, what's funny, because of the cell shading, it still looks good, but like the colors they chose, it very reminiscent of the era when it came out, when everything was kind of grayscale or brown scale. You know what I mean? Not a lot of colors popped. everything kind of melds together.
I absolutely remember that first area. Like I remember the first town.
Yeah.
I remember like that
Firestone.
first area really well. Like walking out of the town, I know where the arena is on the right down the road quite a bit. Stuff like that. Like it definitely feels. I don't know, that game felt weird back then too. Like
Yeah,
I don't know what it is. That game feels like I know you guys haven't played Xenoblade Chronicles or whatever the hell it's called on Wii U.
Can't say I have. Can't say I have.
But like, okay, so basically, I think it's Xenoblade Chronicles, maybe it's Xenoblade Chronicles X, I don't know, whatever. But it's on the Wii U, and they made the game like completely like an MMO. Like the city and the roads and everything are absolutely massive, and the game isn't multiplayer. There's like some weird like shared world stuff, but there's no like other players running around your world. And then with Borderlands, I feel as though like the game could go on forever, but then I feel like it's too linear to do that. It's sort of like the same effect where it's like Xenoblade Chronicles isn't MMO enough, and I would say that like Borderlands isn't RPG enough. Like it's the same type of issue. I don't know, because it's like, oh, like there's a bajillion guns, and so you would be like, oh, cool, but then like there's like 15 that are viable, or like 10 that are like really good or something, and it's like, well, then like this is ridiculous. Like this is a stupid problem to have. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, it doesn't, I don't know. That game feels weird to me. Like the whole series feels very bizarre. Like even, like honestly, the closest thing I can think of to Borderlands in, formula would probably be The Division, and The Division just feels more natural. I don't know what it is.
Really? That's the closest you come to formula?
I can't really think of, like, personally off the front that I've played, to be clear.
Dead Island, I would say, is way
Yeah,
closer
okay.
in formula than The Division.
Dead Island's more...
Yeah.
But hang on a minute, though. Dead Island is more linear, I would say. Like, there is a shop and stuff, but you don't really need to deal with it.
But it's very reminiscent in its like mission layouts and selection. Like you could toggle on your side missions and go explore and go do those with your co-op team, and then
I don't know.
But,
It's just...
I don't know why. I remember specifically playing Dead Island for the first time and be like, oh, this feels a lot like Borderlands in its setup.
Because if you like, because I always equated Dying Light to a better Borderlands. To a better Dead Island, but I never really associated Dead Island with Borderlands. But I suppose that's that's pretty accurate.
What about something like Rage? Would you equate Rage and Borderlands in the same, not necessarily play style, but same
The first Rage, I think.
tonal tone or genre?
First Rage never beat it, but yes, I agree with that. I agree with Ryan on that. Second Rage, no. See, the thing is with Rage is there's stuff that you can do. So I've beaten Rage 2. And there's stuff that you can do in the cities, but you don't hang out in the cities. I think this is maybe where I'm drawing different comparisons. So I really like games where I can go into the population center of the game and actually hang out and do quests there and actually have a bunch of stuff to do, which is probably why I like Oblivion so much, because there's actually quite a bit of quests in the cities. And there's a couple of the cities that are rather large, or at least for that time period of game development. So like, they're rather large cities and you can actually hang out and stuff. And that's kind of why I like Morrowind as well, because you stumble upon a huge city and there's tons of people to talk to and tons of shops and stuff. With something like Borderlands, it's weird to me because it's like you're always out there fighting, you're always out there doing, but there's very little to do in the population center, which makes the population center feel very detached. But then with Borderlands, it's like there are, vendors and vending machines and people to talk to, but you can like rarely talk to them. I would say Rage is definitely that, but it plays into it. Like I know who the characters are, but you don't develop any sort of care about them. You like, the game is very much like, go out in the wasteland and kill stuff. Go out in the wasteland and kill stuff. Find some stuff out there, bring it back and like upgrade your stuff, but then go out in the wasteland and like fight stuff. So I think it pushes you accordingly, but Borderlands, like I don't know, Borderlands just feels very bizarre to me.
I think it's supposed to be like a kind of a Western too, right? And so maybe they're trying to go for that lonely kind of gunslinger kind of vibe.
Well, there's that one There's that one big city in Borderlands 2. Because I played a fair bit of Borderlands 2 as well. Beat
Yeah,
Borderlands 1,
that's
and
right.
then I've played Borderlands 2 quite a bit and never beat it. But it's like the you know what it probably is actually is, now that I say it, is like the characters of Borderlands are very iconic. Like I remember Dr. Zed and like the guy who the armory guy and
Yeah. The NPCs and the shopkeepers are memorable. The actual 4 main characters are not at all.
Yeah, the 4 main characters aren't, and the cities aren't. And I think that that's always weird when it's like, oh, everyone knows who Moxie is, and then you go to the town and there's like 3 people in there, and you're like, does everyone know who Moxie is? Because like no one comes to this damn city.
I don't think Moxie was even in the base game for the I don't think she showed up until the DLC of the first game, and then she was rolled into as an NPC character for the second one.
I've only seen her in the second game. I don't think I played the DLC the first.
The first game is very lackluster, especially towards the end. It's the DLC which makes up for it. In fact, like Gearbox considers to be the fort of General Knox's fort, or whatever that DLC pack is called. They actually consider that pack there, which is the 4th one, to be the proper end of the game, because the end of the first game is very lackluster. But what else were you playing, Ryan?
I want to know why you were playing that.
I don't know, just nostalgia, I think, at this point. And it was on sale, and so I just decided to pick it up. That's all.
All right, fair enough.
I also played a lot more of Final Fantasy 14. Making my way through that. MMOs are just too much, I think, for me. There's just too much going on. You need to know too much. Like you really have to be invested in these games, right? You can't really kind of play them casually, which is kind of what I'm doing. There's a bunch of different guilds you can join, and all these different crafting materials and
the traditional MMO stuff, huh?
Yeah.
Are you going to continue this? Or are you going to call quits, or?
I'm gonna play the story as long as I can until I run into a point where I kind of get stuck or something. I have joined a free company, and so I don't want to just kind of bail on them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Got to pay union dues.
But I'm also not like, I think a lot of them are at end game kind of stuff. I'm still kind of working my way up to that, so we'll see what happens when I get to.
It's bizarre to me that like you didn't take to Elder Scrolls Online. Then I know that we've had our complaints throughout the years with its multiplayer and how it handles quests, but I mean, I'm surprised that you didn't just play it single player. Like I am surprised that that's a game that you never beat, because it's very much like SOTOR in production quality with the full voice and all that, but like it's very Elder Scrolls-esque. Elder Scrolls-esque for an MMO.
Yeah, I still want to play it. Like I actively want to play it. And every time I see it on like the PlayStation Store or something, it makes me want to play it.
I mean, you have it.
I know. I don't know why I never continued on with it.
It might
it's
be
not
just
worse
too big.
than any other MMO is.
Is it just the size? Like,
I don't know. I have no idea why I stopped playing it.
Because it's like it's always terrible when you see some game come out and it's like, yeah, that'd be cool to play, and then you're like, yeah, but it's 100 hours just to start getting good with it. It's like, holy crap! Like, what the fuck?
And I'm also currently trying to download Star Trek Online.
Hey, you gonna do some Star Trek Online?
I don't know, maybe.
Because my brother and I were supposed to start that, but he can't. He wants to play it on PlayStation, so he's waiting to get a PS5. But
I was downloading it on PC though.
I maybe I'll join you on PC, and then I'll start a separate one with him on.
Is it cross game though?
It's not cross. I'd be playing 2 different ones.
Oh man.
But let me know. I have it installed. I think I'd give it a go.
Oh, you have it installed?
I'm pretty sure I have it installed already. I could.
We gotta finish Borderlands.
Yes, we'll do Borderlands, and we'll do Star Trek Online.
You guys are still fucking around with one of the Borderlands games. Ryan just started the first one, and then you wanted to play all of them with me, every mission, all DLCs. This is too much Borderlands.
Sorry, I want to just play video games with my friends. Gee,
No, no,
sorry.
I'm not saying that. We're
God,
playing,
oh my God.
We're playing Sea of Thieves. I'm making fun of your Borderlands work ethic.
Hey, but the Borderlands 3 is not only us playing Borderlands to get through it. This is, and I'm not even being colorful here. I'm not exaggerating. This is a genuine example. I'm showing Ryan the pace at which I play video games. This is no different from any other video game that I play. This is how long it takes me to play. 3 hours.
I would have been done it a long time ago.
Yeah, 3 hour stints, like once a month, maybe. That's how often I play a game. It takes me years to get through games.
I don't even know how the story sticks with you.
I forget about it until I'm in it again, and then I immediately remember what's happening. And like
Okay.
it takes me a second, and it was like, oh, it's just downloading packets in the background, and then I was like, oh, okay, I got it. Same thing with books. Like I'll forget what's happening in the book until I read the first couple of lines of the next chapter, and I'd be like, oh, it's all flooding back.
Man, you know what's bad about books is like, if I watch a movie once, it's like the plot slowly drifts away as time passes. But you can always watch a movie again. It's a bigger investment to read a book again, to remember all the details.
Yeah.
You know.
And then there's like books that people absolutely adore, and it changed their lives, and like I'm sure it did, and I'm happy that they found a book that they love. But like I know somebody who reads her favorite book once a year. That's on top of all the other reading she does. She makes a point to reread her favorite book once a year, and she's like, I don't have time to wipe my ass sometimes. Like I don't know if I'll be able to reread a book every. Like there's a bunch of books and things I want to do that I haven't experienced already.
Jeez. All right. Let's hop into the stories. So yeah, BlizzCon literally just happened when we were recording this. I think me and Adrian, we both watched the opening thingamajig.
I started late. I got through the opening stuff. I didn't get past that. Yeah, but fill me in on
kind
the
of go
Overwatch.
through some of this stuff. This is from IGN. They put a little list together of all the things announced at the opening video. Blizzard Arcade, which is a collection of their old games. It's launching today on PC and consoles.
Mm-hmm.
You can get games like The Lost Vikings, Blackthorn, and Rock and Roll Racing. Both their classic and newly enhanced formats. There you go.
Yeah.
There's some World of Warcraft stuff, which I'm sure Tim could have enjoyed. I think
that was a cool little trailer they put together.
It's funny how they're sticking with like their old timey like looking graphics.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's amazing that they stick with that. I guess they kind of have to, maybe.
Yeah, I'm not familiar.
And Adriano, did you get to the Hearthstone stuff?
Yes.
What's happening with the Hearthstone stuff? Do you know?
So the Hearthstone stuff, I didn't watch the in-depth Hearthstone, like the dedicated stuff on the channel, but the stuff that they showed at the beginning pre-opening ceremony is the same stuff that they actually announced like a day or two ago. But essentially they are revamping some of the sets. So Wild and Standard are still around in name. For the most part, Wild is still exactly as it was. It's everything. Standard is still just the latest expansions plus what is now going to be the core set of the year. So up until now, the Standard's always been the 3 latest expansions, plus basic and classic cards. So the problem was, you have the oldest possible sets, which were basic and classic, which everyone gets when they get the game. You literally just open it up and you literally do your leveling up and you get those cards. And then you jump all the way ahead to these expansions. And they've over the years kind of adapted the classic cards, not the basic, but they've adapted the classic cards and they've tweaked them here and there. They moved some of them to Hall of Fame. They've made other adjustments here and there. So now they are getting rid of what we knew as classic and basic. And they are introducing core sets yearly. So we are going to have a core 2021 set. Some Magic the Gathering players will be familiar with the core sets. And so now it's going to be the current core set plus the 3 latest expansions. And then as the new expansions come out and the last one drops off, that still kind of does its rotation. And then what they'll do is they'll roll over the core set appropriately for each year, because we are now in the year of the mammoth is what they call it. And then on top of all of that, they are doing what they did with WoW, and there is now a new Hearthstone Classic. It's kind of confusing because the cards they are getting rid of to move into the Wild set are the Classic and Basic cards, but they're introducing a new section called Hearthstone Classic. So it's kind of confusing, but Classic is essentially Hearthstone as it was in 2014. And it's all of the original stats for those cards too. So if there are any alterations they made with mana or health or attack is gone back to the original, and that is playable. And you can still level up and rank up and do your competitives in there. But then there's also the other stuff, which is standard / wild, which has the core now. That's pretty much the gist of it. So I can't wait to open up my Hearthstone and see all my decks fucked around with, and I'll have to go and fix all those.
Really, Hearthstone is also getting its own Warcraft themed expansion called Forged in the Barrens.
Yes, that's just they're all Warcraft themed expansions.
Well, yeah.
This is just the new one that they decided.
Why did they feel the need to point that out?
I don't know, because it's weird, because it used to be they really used to stress Hearthstone Heroes of Warcraft, like that used to be the and then they kind of dropped the subtitle and they just called it Hearthstone, and now they like made that weird. I noticed it too when they talked about it. That point to say, hey, the Warcraft expansion. So I would love it if they just kind of made Hearthstone Heroes of Blizzard, and if they started working in other expansion, like other games, like give like a Diablo expansion and give a Overwatch expansion or StarCraft expansion, and kind of just make it an all-around Blizzard game, not necessarily just a Warcraft game. But I think that's too much. That's too hopeful. Because like I think a StarCraft card game would be really fun. That's pretty much it for the Hearthstone.
We've been playing Diablo after the podcast, and Diablo 4 got a bit of an update there too. They revealed a new class, and this class is from the original Diablo. It's a rogue, so that's making their way back into.
That's what I
Diablo
was
4.
in.
Yeah, Matt. So get your shields ready for when Adriano chooses a rogue. And watch your ass.
Yeah, quite literally for the listener, in that game, like the shield is based upon, I guess, random chance. Or like there's a chance on the shield. Anyway, like you can't block manually by clicking a button. And Adriano is a bow character, rogue, whatever. And he would come up behind whatever, and he would like start shooting. Ryan and I have swords. We're like the warrior or whatever they are. So we would run up and like attack. He had the friendly fire was on, so he could shoot us in the ass. And he had done so several times. And Ryan and I, at one point,
several dozen times,
like a lot of times, like every time, every conflict, every time. So Adrian was always shooting us in the ass. So we're having trouble with this game. We had to go back once and get some gear and stuff like this because we died, and the game's really fucking hard to get your loot back sometimes. We almost quit a couple times. Like it was bad. We persevered, but the point is, we went back, and eventually, I think it was you, Ryan. You like looked it up. Because we were near the end. Yeah. And you're like, people are saying that, you should switch from the two-handed, which is what we were doing, to the sword and shield at the later time because the amount of damage they do is now higher, blah, blah, blah. So we switched, and we realized, not that we were blocking the creatures, which was helpful, though, but that we were dying less because we were blocking the shots from Adriano. Literally, there's a time where every single time you block, like your guy goes ting, and he turns around like just instantly without an animation, basically, to the person like that you're blocking. I was fighting a big whatever it is demon thing. It's Diablo, and my character turned around like 8 times in rapid succession, like ting 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 ting, and I didn't take a single hit from the creature. I just blocked like 8 or 9 hits from each round of them shooting me directly in the ass.
That's funny. It's funny because it's a hit scan system. It's not a projectile, so it's just instant. Like as soon as I fire, it registers whether it's a hit or miss. Like there's no like in between frame. It's just hit and then miss, or hit or a hit fire then hit. But I'm definitely going to be that rogue class in Diablo 4. That was very impressive what they showed off.
It was cool, eh?
Yeah.
They also showed off. I don't have it here in this list, but they also showed off Diablo Immortals.
That looks way cooler than I thought it was going to be.
I'm curious. I don't know if they said this or not. I'm curious if it has controller support. Would that be interesting?
Yeah. I mean, it's been cooking for a while, so they may have added some of those modern things. Yeah, because that would be more modern than when it was announced, right? Like, I mean, there was controller support before, but like not as common.
I would bring a controller to work and play it on my lunch. Just set up in the cafeteria and just.
Man, it'd be so good on an iPad too. God damn.
I mean, I can just play now with digital analog sticks. I'm used to it now.
Oh, really?
Man, you disgust me.
I decided to learn it because I was like, this is probably the future to some extent.
Because they're just introducing controller support, which means now everyone's going to be, now they're going to start.
It's not the future like as if it's the replacement for the controllers, but it is a way of input. Like xCloud, for example, Ryan and I played, I believe it was the first touch compatible game, which was Minecraft Dungeons. Now there's a whole section of touch compatible games.
It's not the end of the world, and plus, if you're playing on the go, you don't need all the comforts of playing on a console at home.
Yeah, that's why I decided to learn it. I was like, this may come in handy. I'm just going to learn this.
Yeah, and then they finally ended the show with Diablo 2 Resurrected. Now, they made this very much seem more like a remaster than what I was just hoping for, or thinking at least, of a remake. So they basically went the route of like when they remastered Halo or StarCraft, where the base game is still running like underneath it all, and you just have like upgraded textures on top.
Mm-hmm.
And you can literally swap between them.
Yeah, on the PC, I think you could swap. I don't think they'll be able to do that on the console.
Oh, I guess so. Yeah.
I have a feeling if you load into that, like you're not gonna be able to swap between it on the.
Now, this game is launching on everything: PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, and Nintendo Switch.
Nice.
I think I know that like we had a conversation with Tim before the show, and he was saying something along the lines of he wished it was more sort of remade, I guess, in the Diablo 3 sort of style.
That's what I was hoping for too.
I actually am like, I'm done with Diablo 2. Like, I've played Diablo 2 to death when I was a kid. I played it once with you guys because we're playing through the Diablos right now, as we mentioned a couple times. But I will say that I actually think, having played so much Diablo 2, that this is the right way to go. Because I played Diablo 2 years and years and years ago. That was the bulk of my time. And then I came back and played it recently with you guys, like within the year. I would say, personally, if they had released Resurrected, I would have preferred that over Diablo 3 style, because I actually think there's like a style, but like an intentional one of Diablo 2. And I think that Diablo 2 is more about the nostalgia and, of course, like the style, of course. But it's sort of like the evolution of Halo. Halo Infinite is going to be way different than Halo 1 ever was, right? Open world, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And it's changed throughout the years. You know, not like crazily. It's still a first-person shooter, with the exception of something like Halo Wars. But like, I just think that with Diablo 2, I think that the game, because it was still active online, we were chatting with people online. I think the game is good enough where I think that they weren't held back technically. Diablo 1, they were held back technically. You can feel it. Like, the game is clunky. It's hard to run around. You know, it runs kind of poorly. Even with this new version, the online, like the BattleNet for it went down for a few weeks or whatever it was, or a couple weeks.
That was horrible.
like when we were trying to play it went down for a couple weeks, so we had to wait for them to fix it and stuff like this. And yes, we were playing the new GOG version, and like,
but it was still using the BattleNet servers.
That's exactly it. So what I mean is like I feel like Diablo 1 was held back, not held like it was basically like the technical limitations were holding them back. I think with D2, maybe graphics, sure. Like I've only seen one screenshot of this Resurrected, Diablo 2 Resurrected. I feel like maybe the graphics they were held back a bit, but really I think the mechanics that they wanted at the time were what they wanted. Like I don't think they were like, man, I wish we could do X. But I think that was the case with Diablo 1. They're probably like, I wish we could do this, but it's just not quite possible yet. And I don't know. I just think personally, I prefer having D3 be D3 and D2 be just D2 with like upgraded graphics. Am I going to buy it? No. But yeah, that's my take on it.
I would have bought it if it was a remake, but it just being a remaster, I don't think it's worth it because we literally just played them, you know.
Does it work with the old servers?
Like, can you play if someone has the old game?
Like we just made new characters on Diablo 2. We played the game, we beat it on normal because we just went through it for story. Can we go and just log into our Battle.net account on D2 Resurrected?
I have to imagine that it is going to be the same launch. Like it's going to be the same game. Like I have a feeling you're just going to launch into Diablo 2 and they're just going to have it on top of it.
Yeah, so you think it will work?
I have a feel like that's what they did with the StarCraft. The StarCraft whatever they're fucking calling it is you can do the same thing. You can toggle between your two
graphical
styles. But they said specifically when they launched that they made a point for people still running their original StarCraft EXE files, still running those ones. They could still play with those people. You could still play with anyone who's playing any version of StarCraft anywhere. So I have to imagine they're going to do the same thing with Diablo.
Because the base game is literally running underneath it all.
Because think about all the people, like we were just in there, and there were people online. Like we were chatting with people in the chat. Like there's people there. There's a lot, and so imagine having the same account for God knows how many years.
That's the beauty of PC gaming is your communities are long lasting. You always have a family to go back to, I guess.
But like, so that would be fucking awesome for them.
On PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X, the remaster will run at 4K at 60 frames per second. Ooh,
nice. Did you little side thing when they first showed the trailer for the Blizzard Arcade collection? Did you see the platforms that it was coming out on at the bottom?
No, why?
They're not. There's no actual Series XS or PS5 release. It was PS4 and Xbox One. Those were the consoles that it was coming out on. And I guess those people were just gonna be running those versions on their new console.
Oh yeah.
And on top of the Switch version, which was also at the bottom.
I mean, that's how the Mass Effect is.
Yeah,
Master of Mass Effect.
Yeah,
it's not a dedicated PS5 or Xbox Series X version.
Have you?
Which is a little disappointing, but I mean,
yeah. Have you looked at that? Is it? I heard it's very good looking. It's a very.
I saw some screenshots.
Upgrade.
Yeah, it's nice. I think that the problem is like you can make it look nicer, but it's still lacking the detail and like the way they, I guess, for lack of a better term, set dress. You know. The levels in games now is so better than it used to be.
Yeah,
worlds back then were like really empty, you know. All right, and then
this is I was supposed to say. Sorry, I'm reading up on this, and like I don't know about playing your old D2 characters, but like specifically, I'm just reading here. Planned feature cross progression. Keep your progress wherever you play. With the planned cross progression feature, you'll be able to access your characters and keep their progress wherever you play Diablo 2 Resurrected.
Yeah, that's right.
I cross progression. I was really kind of hoping that they would do cross play, but I don't think they're going to do that.
Well, it says bring your characters and loot across all supported platforms. Retain your level, quest, progress, skills, and talents. Yeah. Cross progression requires a link to Battle.net account and separate Diablo 2 Resurrected purchase for each supported platform.
Yes, but I still don't think they're going to let you do crossplay. Like if I can bring my character over, but if I'm playing with you guys on PC, then I want to go play with my brother on console. Like I have a feeling I can't play with all 4 of you at once. I'll have to play with him for a bit, then come back or do whatever.
Interesting.
Yeah. But that's a shame.
So they did not talk about Overwatch 2 during these opening ceremonies, but they did have a video right afterwards where they gave a ton of detail.
Yeah.
Almost too much detail. This game is going to
give me that
be
detail, Ryan.
massive, it sounds like. So IGN put together this list of 55 new details that were revealed. I'm just going to try to pick out some here.
Give me the top 5. Ryan's top 5. New segment right now. Ryan's top 5.
The maps. They showed off 2 new maps. One was in Rome and one was New York City, and they looked pretty damn incredible. They got a lot of like the architecture right in here, and they have that cool kind of blend between like the old ancient human architecture and then like their Overwatch futurism, and it looks really well incorporated. So that's pretty good. You should definitely check those out, Adriano. They're really cool.
I plan on watching everything. I just probably not till tomorrow morning.
So yeah, obviously they went over PvP. That was a big deal. Torbjorn was shown off a bit. She is one of the, I think, the only new hero they've announced for it, right?
And she's from where?
Canada.
Yeah.
They talked about her weapon, and they actually said that she is their favorite character so far, or turned into one of their favorite characters. She has a railgun, and apparently it's pretty deadly if you're good at aiming. So that was pretty cool. I'm just reading through here. Oh, they changed up even how a lot of the characters operate. They talked about how tanks are different now, and they can be a little more offensive. They have a reduction in knockback.
They're knocked back to you, or
I think you can't. I think you can't boop them around as much.
Okay.
So they're kind of more tanky in that sense, I guess.
So is this going to? I know you guys kept saying barrier watch or something because there were so many goddamn barrier/shield characters. Is this going to make even more like you can't boop like Reinhardt around? You're gonna have to.
You still can. I just think it won't be as easy just to take them out. And obviously, all this stuff could change. Overwatch 1 has changed drastically since the first time it launched, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course.
They also had hero missions mode. And this one, I think they talked about having hundreds of different missions. They didn't want you to feel like you would run out of things to do in this mode. Because I think this is one of the modes where you can actually level up your character. And so instead of just making you feel like you had to grind the same mission over and over just to level up your character, they actually wanted you to have new things to do night after night. It's basically how they put it.
Is this the PvE?
I believe this is PvE, yeah.
Yeah.
Anything with leveling up your characters, I think, is PvE.
I am genuinely concerned now that I won't get a PS5 in time for this release.
Well, Adriano, I actually think that because they're saying this hundreds of levels, I think that backs up. I mean, it's just a theory, but I think that backs up by free-to-play theory. And you're going to be able to play the PvP anyway, because you have your Overwatch 1 disc. But I actually think that Overwatch PvP is probably going to go free-to-play.
Yeah.
Well, they said they said like Blizzard wants to match the Call of Duty Warzone thing, and like Warzone's free to play, but the base like Call of Duty's like Call of Duty Cold War and Call of Duty Modern Warfare are not. That would make a lot of sense, especially if they're putting this much like this isn't Left 4 Dead where they put 4 levels out or 10 levels out, and then they said, okay, here you go, boys. Like if there's actually non-gimmicky 100-ish whatever it is levels to play PvE, then that's worth the ticket price of the Overwatch 2 disc or digital, whatever. And I would say Overwatch Online, the PvP part, was going to become free to play. So like even if you can't get a PS5 in time, I mean, you're going to be fine because you're going to be able to just play the PvP.
There was also that report, though, that this isn't coming out in 2021.
That's correct.
You don't think you'll have a PS5 by then?
Apparently the fallback from just like the delays in for just like all chips across the board they're being rippled into a lot of manufacturing for game consoles. Like some of the reports are saying that holiday 2021 consoles still might be tough to get a hold on. Yes, and that's why
is that normal?
Not a year after.
I don't think
not a year. Yeah,
would the holiday season specifically? Like, I'm thinking, like, this would be, okay, a lot of people will skip the first holiday season because they don't want the first batch of consoles. Fair enough. Second batch of consoles comes around during the year sometime, fine. Let's just say, I don't know, it's the third batch of consoles that comes out for 2021 holiday. Is it normal because then people think that that's sort of, like, Gen 2-ish? Like, it's, you know what I mean? Like, it's not the first wave?
I'm not too... I don't have a lot of experience with that, but just, like, some of the things I was reading were, like... There could be this could be the rate at which consoles are being released for at least another year, apparently, because a lot of the chipsets that are coming out are going to be held for phones because those have a bigger domination in the market, and like the Xbox and PlayStation release rate is going to might just be the way it is for a little while.
Oh, what's sad, Adriano, is you had both of them.
Yeah, I had both of them right here. They were within arm's reach, and I sold both of them.
But here's something cool with the hero missions too: is that some maps will have brand new areas in the hero mission variants. For example, a payload in King's Row may move along a different route, revealing that a normally gated off section opens, revealing a new section of the map behind it.
Oh my god, I'm gonna love this game.
In 2025, when you get your PS5, sadly.
I will have a PC, and I could always just play it on PC. I would love it if they did crossplay.
Well, since Diablo 2 did that, I'm hoping that comes to Overwatch 2.
I have every faith that cross progression will come. Like I have a feeling they're going to tear down the walls and just say, here, everyone's stuff rolls over to everything. I don't know about crossplay. I would love to be able to opt in and to controller only and say, hey, I want to play with Ryan and Marty on PlayStation. Let me just be on PC.
Here's another cool thing. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
But I don't know that's going to happen.
Another cool thing is dynamic weather conditions, which can change mid-match. So they showed off sandstorms and snowstorms and rain.
Let me guess. Snowstorms were in Canada?
It might have been on the Toronto map.
Yeah. What about the Texas map, huh?
Sandstorms.
They don't want to adjust it dynamic for the most recent...
God damn it.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I didn't get what you were saying until right now. God damn it.
Yeah. But those looked awesome. Those looked really cool. So I'm excited for that. They gave off some campaign details, it looks like. Every mission will feature cinematic intros and outros with seamless cuts to and from gameplay. They showed off Torbjorn's workshop. That was like an area you can play in.
Was everything at a half height?
Yes.
Oh, really?
they said they designed it as if they were Torbjorn.
Okay.
Yeah. Here you go. The Toronto map will place during a null sector siege. Take place during a null sector siege, and takes place during a snowstorm, which we'll see build up steadily as you progress through the level.
I wanna watch that video.
And Marty said he saw Tim Hortons.
Really? They're gonna license out that franchise?
Yeah.
until it lapses, and then they have to like put it out update.
No, though maybe it's something just really similar. Like maybe it's just like Hortons.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or McDonald's buys a contract, and then you see a McDonald's go in there.
McCafes.
McCafes. Second cup.
Oh, they had the Rogers Center too.
Yeah, they really?
Does it say Rogers though? Hang on. It says Rogers Center.
Oh my god!
Shit!
I was going to say they're probably going to call it the Overwatch Center.
Wait. That's just that's a picture of the actual Rogers Center.
Oh, okay.
They're just saying that the dome is in the map.
Okay.
Oh, for Pete's sake!
They also got the City Hall.
Do they have
Union Station?
I was going to say Union Station in there.
Yeah. They got the streetcars. Oh, they got the orange and green taxis.
Nice. Nice.
Oh, they don't have they don't have the Tim Hortons. I got to watch that back again. If it's actually said Tim Hortons, that'd be amazing.
I wonder if they just put it in there for like they contracted it for just the Blizzard for the BlizzCon.
Yeah,
specifically for that. They probably are not gonna. I have to imagine the paperwork for that would be just too much to keep rolling in a license.
Unless Tim Hortons is gonna have like the exclusive Overwatch donuts.
Oh, I was gonna buy those.
Imagine like a Roadhog donut. You know what I mean? That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I would want the
cookies.
I would want the Diva one that would be covered in sprinkles because we all know the Diva one would be sprinkles.
Oh, you think that they're just gonna make like traditional donuts in the colors? I'm thinking like they're gonna like actually shape a donut. Like,
nah, that's too much work.
Or like just at least the face or something.
No, all they have to do is put color sprinkles on it, and they would sell me on it. They don't need to actually go crazy with the cuts.
The Overwatch logo is a circle.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're selling the donuts. You heard it here first, an exclusive. No.
For $2.10 each. That's how expensive they're gonna be. Remember donuts used to be like 60 cents?
I don't.
Oh. And they used to be so big, and you put them in that flat box, you could barely get them in there. They used to be like no room for them to shift around, and now they just like fly all over the place like Lucio. Oh,
there's a lot of subtle changes too. They went over the hero looks, how they're updating them. They wanted to keep like the same basic styles, but just kind of upgrade them a bit. They look like they have some pretty cool like texture on the clothing and stuff. They have some new fabric tech. That's what I'm looking for, and a more advanced face rig to allow characters to be more expressive, particularly in the cinematics. Do you remember the in-game cinematics they used to have? There was that Tracer one where she was on her like motorcycle.
Oh, that was the one that's the cinematic they showed. Oh, that's the latest Archives release.
And
that's Havana.
It looked really bad, like a lot of the facial expressions and how the characters moved and stuff. So they've updated all that kind of stuff. And they showed off a new Pharah.
Oh, so, really?
It's not drastically different, but it is updated.
I'm gonna go check it out.
Overwatch 2 has new enemies. There's a ton of new enemy types. They wanted to keep things interesting and fun.
Wait, what were the enemy types before? Weren't they other players?
No, in the PvE stuff.
They were very
they were boring.
Yeah. Like faceless soldier, and if you're facing the robots, you were facing like an evil Bastion or evil Orisa and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
Oh, some really cool tech they showed off is with their audio. So I think they either re-recorded or enhanced the sound of all the weapons, and they really changed the way it sounds depending on the location in which it's being fired. And they showed it off soldiers' rifle being fired off in like an open area, in like a closed area, in a hallway, and it sounded really different.
How did it sound being fired off in the Tim Hortons?
Jeez.
A lot of my follow-up questions are going to be Tim Hortons related.
Okay. So that was pretty cool. A lot of other little stuff. Like I just skipped past a bunch of stuff here, but they go through it all in the video, and it's a ton of new changes. And the game looks like it's going to be a pretty big game.
Fuck, I'm going to have to find a PlayStation now.
All right, that's it for BlizzCon. I think there's more days happening. So
I think you mean BlizzConline, actually.
Yes, BlizzConline. I don't know if I'll be watching the other days. I'm not really sure what's going on during them.
I put it in the calendar, the full schedule. I pasted it as a description in the in that shared calendar. Tomorrow is World of Warcraft Q&A, Hearthstone Q&A, Diablo Q&A, World of Warcraft: The Evolution of Thrall, World of Warcraft Cooking Workshop. So it looks like all the good stuff was today.
All right, let's move on to the Nintendo Direct. It's been a while since they had a Direct, I think. Like, I don't think they really showed off much. I think last time was maybe around E3 area time period. Is that right?
Yeah, sure.
Do you watch the directs all the time?
I try to when I remember. I legitimately forgot
okay.
that this one was happening. In fact, I expressed disappointment that I missed it when you told me about it.
So some of the big reveals were this again, or this is brought to us by GameSpot here. Legend of Zelda: Skyward Sword HD revealed. So this was the game that came out for the Wii. It's now making its way to the Switch with the enhanced port. Did you ever play that one, Adriano?
No, I never played before Breath of the Wild. I've never played a 3D Zelda game.
So what was the last one you played before that?
One of the 2D ones, Link to the Past.
Okay.
No, definitely one after that. I remember, but like the top down and the side, and not the sides, the top down early ones I played.
So what's really funny is that everyone's wanting
Breath of the Wild 2. Yeah,
the guy comes out, and he says, "I know you all want to hear about. You see me, and you're expecting Breath of the Wild 2, and we got nothing for you."
Aw.
At least he's straightforward about it. I don't know.
They announced Breath of the Wild 2 like a year ago, right?
I think 2019.
So it's surprising that they had nothing else to show off.
That doesn't actually surprise me. Nintendo's not afraid to kind of like roll back ideas or scrap stuff.
Yeah.
Like they scrapped all that they had for Metroid Prime 4. Like Metroid Prime 4 should have been out by now, and they didn't like where it was going. They scrapped that entire game and said they're starting over from scratch.
Yeah.
So
and the first Breath of the Wild took a long time to come out too, right? It was supposed to be a big title for the Wii U, and then they kind of delayed it and it became a big title for
it was eventually came out on the Wii U, but it did kind of coincide with the Switch, so they kind of just worked into that. But
yeah,
I didn't follow much of the Breath of the Wild development because I wasn't anticipating playing that game or liking it, but I'm glad I played it. In fact, it is a weird thing because I actually played it. I started playing it when it first came out. I bought it on the Wii U, and I just kind of fell off it. I didn't get around to finishing it, and it wasn't until around this time last year, when stuff with COVID really hit, shit hit the fan, and I had to change my living arrangements, and I went into I had to abruptly pretty much pick up my stuff and leave where I was living, and I went into a condo rental. I didn't have any of my stuff with me. Like my computer went into storage, my PlayStation went into storage. I didn't even take my bed with me. I was literally living on a mattress on the floor in the living room. Like that's how much I was roughing it in this empty condo. But the one thing I did grab was I grabbed my Wii U and all my games, because I'm like, I don't even have a TV here, but at least I can still play stuff on the gamepad. Like I can just use that as I can literally plug it into a wall and then just run it on the gamepad. And I decided to replay Breath of the Wild last year because I didn't have anything else, and I'm glad that I restarted it.
Mario Golf Super Rush was revealed. Next game in the long dormant Mario Golf series.
Yeah.
I don't have much to say about that. I never really played the other ones.
I played the 3DS one a little bit.
Is that good?
It's okay. I think I'd rather just play PGA Tour, to be totally blunt. It's okay. Like, it's not the greatest thing in the world.
Was that Simpsons golf game, the one that Bart ends up getting instead of
oh yeah, can't remember
for Christmas instead of I can't even remember the actual name of the video game that he wanted to get. Never mind the golf one.
PGA Tour and Lynx are the ones that I can remember, like that are real.
What else?
The silence is deafening.
What else? What else?
Smash Bros. New fighters were revealed.
Who was revealed?
I don't know how to pronounce this. Mithra and Pyra from Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Are they echo fighters of each other? I'm assuming so.
I'm not sure.
All right, then I will go and look it up.
People were joking though that it was exactly what Smash Bros. Needed: another anime character with a sword.
Yeah.
Although that's what PlayStation All Stars ran into. Every one of their characters had a gun.
Oh wait, did they? What other character? There was Sly Cooper, right? Was he in there?
Yeah.
Jack and Daxter. Although, like, what Jack?
They had like weapons, didn't they?
Well, because Jack and Daxter, the first one he didn't, but the other ones were like GTA. Yes, I know that's a weird transition, but that's actually real.
Yeah. I don't remember the roster for freaking PlayStation All-Stars.
I remember. Yeah, what a ridiculous question. But I remember I used to play
Kratos,
as like Radic,
Nathan Drake, Big Daddy, which doesn't sit well with me. I hate that he was on the PlayStation All Stars. I don't remember anything.
Radic,
else. Sure.
Isaac Clarke.
Who?
Dead Space.
Dead Space.
Oh my god!
What a ridiculous franchise.
No, so he didn't have a gun; he had a mining tool.
It was like a gun.
Yeah. Yeah, let's get realistic. It was a gun.
They put Zeus in there.
What?
From
Like
God
we
of
ran out of characters. All right, just put a Greek god in there. Wait, we do have a series where Zeus is in there. Fuck yeah! Like
yeah. Anyway, lost my page. Where am I? Oh, Splatoon 3. Now, I'm imagining this game is like one of those games that's popular, but no one in our sphere talks about it, right?
Yeah, in a slightly different timeline, I could see Marty being really big into it.
Because they saved this till the end. This was announced at the very end, I think.
Yeah.
And so I imagine it's probably a big seller, especially for them to make 3 of them. Maybe a younger audience. I'm not sure. I don't know.
It's people who play Splatoon really like it has its community. People do like that game.
And then a few other things were announced. Fall Guys is coming to the Switch. It's also coming to Xbox. Outer Wilds coming to the Switch.
Outer
Wilds, not Worlds.
Oh, okay.
Outer Worlds is already on the Switch.
Is it really?
Yes, I have it.
Wow, that's crazy.
Is it a stream title or is it a
No,
actual...
I have the cartridge.
Oh,
But yeah, that they could probably get that running on there. That's not too extensive of a game. Tales from the Borderlands coming to Switch.
that's really good. If you guys haven't played it, you should.
I
play
have.
It.
It's fantastic.
That's really good.
It might be better than Borderlands.
For narrative, yeah, a narrative, absolutely, yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. There's actual character and emotion and arcs and
Yeah. Stubbs the Zombie is coming to Switch.
Holy fuck! Isn't that super old PC game? I gotta look this damn thing up. Stubbs the
2005
Zombie. No.
zombie action game.
I think there's
That
an
is
Xbox.
That is a fucking old game. 2005?
Yeah.
Wait, but is the 2005 version coming to the Switch, or is it a new Stubbs the Zombie game?
Xbox cult classic Stubbs the Zombie is getting remastered for modern
Okay,
consoles.
that's fine,
Headline from The Verge.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Holy fuck! I remember seeing this shit. In boxes at Walmart for PC.
In boxes.
Well, it's crazy to kids
Boxes.
today. It's like
What am I,
PC games don't like hardly get sold retail at all. This is back in the day with those big ass boxes that were just way too big for the disc.
What are we? Some sort of peasant with our boxes?
Yeah, actually yes.
I love that they did that though, because it was clearly like, we want this to look substantial and for you to see it on the shelf and for you to feel like it's worth $80.
I still have my Jedi Knight Dark Forces 2 and the expansion combo pack. Like I still have that box. Like I have all the manuals and the game discs in that box still, the original one.
If I recall correctly, The Sims 2 came in like big boxes. It was like a DVD case, but like a thick DVD case. And I believe you could put all the expansions in there on top of each other.
Interesting.
Because there were so many Sims expansions, I guess we needed to bring them somewhere or store them somewhere or whatever. I could be wrong about that, but I remember I think that was the case. 3DS's Miitopia returns to the Switch.
Returns? What?
Fucking Miitopia. Hooey.
Did you play the Miitopia?
No, I remember the
Returns?
name though. Good lord. Stubbs the Zombie on the big stage. That's crazy.
Matt.
That's crazy. Like I thought that game was just like a zombie. I'm literally shocked.
Are you gonna play Stubbs the Zombie?
You're goddamn right. I am.
Gonna stream Stubbs the Zombie?
I mean, it's gonna be on my Switch. I don't know how to stream, but I can maybe try.
Use the Elgato. You just punch it out, and then.
Does it have a HDCP?
No, but isn't there a bypass on the
No,
the
you have
old
to
one
turn
that
it
we-
off on the consoles.
Ew.
But I don't know. I don't know whether the Switch has it. I don't know.
Sorry, folks. We know you wanted us to stream Subs to Zombies, but it can't happen.
This next game, I love the name of it. It is a working title, but I still think it was hilarious that they named it this. Project Triangle Strategy. It's from the team behind Octopath Traveler.
I thought you were going to say Octodad, and I was going to burst out laughing again.
No. Star Wars Hunters coming to Nintendo Switch. I believe this is a exclusive, I think.
World premiere.
Competitive, free-to-play third-person shooter that's set before the events of Star Wars The Force Awakens. In Hunters, you can control different characters from the sci-fi franchise and battle against rivals in duels and other skirmishes.
Interesting. I find it interesting that it's a Switch exclusive.
At least for now, you know.
I have to imagine it will come to other platforms.
And that's pretty much it in terms of the big titles. I'm sorry if I missed one that's important to you, but those
Where's
are the ones...
Breath of the Wild?
Yeah, that was weird, but anyway, there you go. Switch is still selling like crazy, so
maybe I'll buy a Switch if I can't get a PlayStation. But then again, I don't play the shit that I have now anyway, so I would get a Switch.
Like you talked yourself into and then out of immediately without saying anything.
I have highs and lows when it comes to my video game playing. Like Matt, somewhere deep down in the back of my head, I firmly believe that I will get to every video game that I've ever wanted to play. I know in my heart I won't, but my brain thinks so.
You just gotta play them. You just like instead of like doing the redundant stuff, you just gotta go and you know what I mean?
But even if I took out all the redundant stuff and I dedicated every minute that I had to just playing games, I still can't get through everything because there's still too much.
Not through everything, but you would get through a lot. Like even if you did, I don't know, let's say an average of an hour a day on business days only. You know what I mean?
That sounds insane. I don't know how I would have time for that.
You play Overwatch for at least an hour a damn day.
No,
Come on,
I don't play Overwatch every day.
No. So I said an average on each business day. So I'm saying 5 hours in a week. You're saying that you don't have 5 hours at home in a week, a whole week.
Matt, I come home from work, I work out, I do some work on my computer. I will get maybe time. I will always make time for Hearthstone because I have to make time for Hearthstone.
Well, no. But I'm saying you cut that out.
Oh, Matt.
Now, hang on a minute.
Matt,
but how long is that? Hang on a minute.
Matt,
how long is that? How long is that?
I could spend up to an hour on Hearthstone.
Well, then your argument's null and void. That's it.
I could spend up to an hour. Sometimes I'm in and out in 15 minutes, depending on how.
But it depends though, and you always do the full thing. So you could do 7. You could force yourself every week to do 7 hours free time if you're doing up to an hour each day for every single day.
Listen, I will admit if I quit my weekend job and I
you don't even need to do that.
I could get back to I could start knocking things off, but me giving myself a 6-day work week, it's very difficult for me to get through that stuff. Because the other errands that just take up my life and that you just have to kind of do and get done that then falls to the day that I have off and I have very little time to actually get shit done.
Ryan, does he not? Games. 1 second here, we're debunking this. Ryan, does he join us on PlayStation for an hour?
Almost every time we're on, yeah.
Yes, but here's the thing. I join you guys on PSN for a chat. I'm not necessarily playing a game all the time.
No, but you could be.
But I'm doing work. I'm sometimes doing work on my computer. I'm just chatting with you guys because I see you guys are on, and I just want to talk to another human being in this time of isolating pandemic. That's I'm not just because I'm on PSN with you guys doesn't mean I'm playing a game.
I think Adriano needs help with his Hearthstone addiction.
This isn't the organized Adriano's Life podcast.
Yeah, I'm
opening Excel now. Right beside my Stubbs the Zombie tab.
We'll schedule time for the Organizing Adriano's Life podcast. Okay, we'll figure out a schedule for that.
Speaking of Nintendo, we have this article here from GameSpot that the Nintendo is beginning to discuss its next console after the Switch. Nintendo's president Shintaro Furukawa.
Yeah, sure.
Has discussed that the company's plans for new hardware to come after the Nintendo Switch. In an interview with Nikkei, translated by VGC, Furukawa was said Nintendo is always developing new hardware in research and development phase, but the company won't release a new console until it can deliver something unique and meaningful.
That's pretty much every answer from every
Yes.
console manufacturer.
Yeah. He said that Nintendo is constantly researching technology, adding that the software and hardware teams at Nintendo work inside the same building and are communicating closely about future entertainment experiences, and that Nintendo's goal is to propose new forms of entertainment.
Do you think Nintendo's next console will be a iteration on the Switch and like an evolution of it, or they're going to just do something new and just like go back to a traditional like gaming console?
What if they just came out with a
more powerful Switch?
Well, no, not only a more powerful Switch, like a Switch 2 kind of deal, but what if just a home console again?
I think that
Just
would
a
kill them.
base console. Really?
I think that would kill them because I think the thing is like we've had this discussion before, but it's like Nintendo has always done their own thing, whatever. But I think this time, it's almost like what you told me years ago, Ryan, actually, where they've designed themselves into a corner. You told me that Apple, for example, had designed itself into a corner where they've just made like basically like a slab of aluminum as the MacBook. And so, like, it's hard for them to change designs because it's like, what do we do? Like, make this side a little rounder, like more round? Like, you know what I mean? There's not much there. It's not like there's bells and whistles all over the place and, like, blades coming off the thing or something.
Yeah, the iPhone basically switches between curved edges and flat edges.
That's the thing. So it's like, so for this, I think we've seen Nintendo slowly but surely actually go to mobile, whether they wanted to or not. Like, we've seen the Wii U, which was a home console, whatever. Tablet, I don't think that was their mobile angle, but like tablet maybe gave them a little bit of experience. But I think one of the main things that really kept them afloat, having not seeing numbers, but in terms of like the zeitgeist, was probably the 3DS and 2DS and all those iterations. And I think that what we've seen is like Nintendo's the only console manufacturer that's been able to successfully hang on to a handheld that's still mainstream. Yes, I know it's, end of life now type of thing or deprecated, whatever. But like, they were the only ones. Like the Vita is technically, I guess, quote unquote, still alive, but like it's not exactly on the stage. We don't see a lot of support for it, yada, yada, whatever. But I think that if they were to take the Switch and make just another home console, it's sort of like it's taking away a major feature for no reason. And then it's sort of like, oh, this is just another box. I'll just buy a PlayStation 5. And yes, you are going to get your diehards, but then you had your diehards with the Wii U, and look how that went.
Mm-hmm. You know what's genius about the Switch is that it cannibalized their 3DS. Instead of letting a competitor come in and make some fancy pants, mobile competitor, they just made it themselves.
And that's another good point too. Is like if they cannibalize themselves, they take over. They basically take their old mobile market, which is the DS and 3DS. They toss those aside. Those are end of life, whatever. And then they go, okay, we're going to pull out we're going to like have the Switch, and that's going to be our replacement. So they're, remaining on top of the handheld scene. But if they were to leave, like if they were to say, you know what, we'll just make like a PlayStation clone, like a home console again, and just have it be like you plug it into the TV. I mean, first of all, you're losing a bunch of the Nintendo uniqueness, but you're also you've cannibalized your mobile market. You don't have a second console to fall back on unless you consider the Switch something to run alongside a potential home console. And then you also have the issue of like, again, like those features are going to be gone forever until, though, one of your competitors come in. So they dominate a space, cannibalize themselves like they should, as a lot of business people would say, as they should, remain on top, then just kill them, like kill their own idea, and then let like the Vita 2 come out because PlayStation's like, oh, there's no competition, I might as well do another one.
Right.
So I think they've kind of designed, not necessarily just in an artistic way, although that too a little bit, but like I think they've designed themselves into the corner of they have to be mobile now, or at least mobile in a way.
Well, they also had to be unique all the time. It's not enough to just make another new console,
right?
Right, because they've got this reputation now that their consoles are the unique console. So what you do after a Switch, other than just a more powerful Switch, I don't know. And hopefully their research and development team are coming up with something pretty cool.
I kind of had a theory that the Labo those
Oh, yeah.
sets
Yeah.
were
Yeah.
actually, I thought the Labo was actually a test as to see whether people would like modular things. Because if you look at Apple, for example, Apple and other manufacturers, but Apple in particular, in my mind, really latches onto literally magnets for their connectivity, and having things magnetized to a case, to a phone, to whatever, to a magnetized connector more specifically, can like expand to like, you know, we've seen phones with different cameras, different speakers. In Apple's case, we've seen like the charger, wireless charger magnetized to the back, wallets magnetized to the back of the case, etc. I think what we might end up seeing is Nintendo take the Labo concept, not as in the cardboard toys, but just like the idea in its like sort of rawest form. I think you might see Nintendo go more traditional tablet. I wouldn't even be surprised if it's Android or something like that. But I mentioned that on another show. I would say more of a traditional tablet, but be like magnetized all over the place. You don't slide in the Switch controllers, you snap them in with magnets. You snap on a bigger battery. You snap on a little like fishing mechanism that games can make. You slap on this connector, you slap it onto a dock and it's all magnetized. I think that might be where they go.
There is a rumor right now that Apple's going to come out with a MagSafe battery pack. And that sounds super awesome to me.
I think I've seen not MagSafe, but I've seen that before. Actually, I've seen like pucks, like batteries that look like pucks. So that would be a cool idea.
So anyway, I guess time will tell with Nintendo what they do. I don't think anyone really predicted the Switch or the Wii, you know, or the GameCube for that matter.
What do you think about their power? Their position on literal computing power. Like they seem to not care. And I get it, like whatever, you're Nintendo, hooray, but like there is a point in which like I actually think it hinders them. Like I still to this day
I don't think so
it hinders
anymore.
them.
No, not it does right now, but it's not going to in the future. Now that they've experimented with streaming to the console, like they've had titles in Japan for streaming for Switch for last couple of years now.
Sure.
And now they're bringing titles to the Switch now.
Yeah. But like I would assume
streaming, it's not an issue.
I would assume they make a commission or however that works of any game sold for the Switch, right? Like more than likely there's like some sort of, we don't probably know what it is exactly. Maybe we do. The reason why I say that though is there's a lot of people out there that are Nintendo fans, but they use their Nintendo console as a secondary console. Yeah. But I wouldn't be surprised if there's a lot of Nintendo people out there that use like their PlayStation, whatever, and they got that first. But I think there's a lot of people that actually wouldn't do that. If you had a powerful Nintendo console that could play, you know, your top of the line FIFA games, your top of the line GTAs, your top of the line whatever, even if it's not quite top of the line, like even if it's just like really good, like 4K at 30,
yeah.
Even if it's not just like not like the Xbox Series X, but maybe the Series S, like I think though that Nintendo would actually benefit from that because you would get the people that want to play the Call of Duties and whatever, but if they're Nintendo fans, they can now have that on the go. They're going to sell that. They're going to sell those games now, and then they're just going to get a piece or commission or whatever, however that works, to their bank.
And they were in that position at one point that it was the GameCube. Like the GameCube was powerful enough to rival the Xbox and the PlayStation 2. And you did see a lot of AAA games, I guess. Yeah, at the time you still call them AAA games that were across all three platforms, and like it held its own against it. And there were, you know, that particular console had some benefits against other ones, and it had some downfalls with other things. Like textures were really great on the GameCube, but you know it was a little lower in resolution. Mm-hmm. Like water effects dominated on the GameCube, when water effects on the PlayStation and the Xbox were not as great. Like remember, Resident Evil 4, arguably one of the greatest video games of all time, premiered and was an exclusive to GameCube. Like that held that pinnacle of a game. at its height. And then it came over to the PlayStation. So like the GameCube was to me is the last proper game console that they had. In fact, I'd actually probably say it's the only like proper game console to today's standards that they've ever had. Because if you go one back to the N64, it doesn't meet that criteria. And you go one forward to the Wii, it still doesn't meet that criteria. But the GameCube, to me, like they had it. They achieved what they needed to rival the main guys.
Yeah, I remember
So
there
they
were
can't
definitely
get back
kids
there.
like I was in elementary school during this, and like I do remember people just having a GameCube, but
Yeah.
like if they had an N64, they also had a PlayStation usually.
Yeah.
It raises a good question though if they're leaving money on the table, but I also don't think they mind. I think they like the position that they're in, and they're getting a bunch of ports right now, and they must be selling because it keeps happening. More studios are bringing games to the Switch, right?
I don't think they're hurting. I think they're just leaving money there. Like Nintendo charges a good dollar, like a high price that rarely goes down like frequently anyway, or is rarely on sale as I hear. I'm not a huge Nintendo fan, so I don't track it myself, but I always hear that Nintendo games, retain their value for a very long time. So, we're talking $92-ish in Canada after tax. And, we're at a point where, like, if the console was $100 more, that's only one game. Yeah. And so, like, clearly the Nintendo fans have the money. So they could raise the console by $100 and then just also have the Call of Duties and stuff. Like, I know that sounds weird, and maybe that's why they're like, but like, I don't think they would ever go on Nintendo Direct and be like, Call of Duty now. Like, I don't think they would do that, but I think that they would be able to just have them there.
Maybe they don't want to be constrained by the power requirements though. You can't have the power of a PS5 in a handheld like that. Not at this point.
No, but that's what I mean. Like right now, I think the Switch is a 720p screen with an old chip. Like I think it's like the Nvidia Shield 1 or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's an old chip. What I'm saying is don't do something crazy. Don't build a new computer or anything like up to that spec. Don't build a PS5. Like that's ridiculous. You can still have your slower load times and stuff like that. You can still take liberties with the fact that it's mobile, but your console should be more powerful by a significant margin when it's plugged in, which we know is possible because we have computers like the Surface Book. So like we know it's possible because that has a performance base. So like it needs to be significantly more powerful when plugged in. And then you're going to cut a lot of the resolution out when you're on the mobile screen. If we're saying that this thing's going to be like the Switch and it's dockable, I think the dock, instead of it effectively being just a mount and a charging base with like some, pass-through ports, I think that they need to make that thing an electronic itself. I think that thing needs to have like a GPU in it. That would make, and then just cut it down to 720p, 720, 30, and just have like, half decent, like 30 FPS on the go, maybe 60 at 1080 on 60 at 1080 or 4K 30 when it's docked. But like I think cutting the resolution down to 720 is something that's totally reasonable.
720 30, Adriano's baseline.
But like that's a totally reasonable mobile gaming setup.
It's the working man's gaming setup. It's
well, because phones are gonna hurt them. Like phones are gonna start surpassing them. Like I'm looking at
I think they already have.
Well, no, but like I'm talking about like in the actual market. Like people don't be like, "Oh, this is a gaming machine." People don't. But like,
I think it's a while before we get to that point.
The thing is, though, is like, I don't think it's too far away. I think it depends on what the kids play. If people give their kid their old phone with a controller and give them xCloud, within 5 years that image changes. Because a kid that was 10's now 15 and can start buying his own stuff, slowly but surely starts working whatever. I think that's what like xCloud / Xbox Game Pass, whatever that you want to call it, the streaming part of it might change the image of phones. I think that's why we're seeing gaming phones come out because I think they see that the market's going to probably change in the phone game. And like, are you gonna buy a new phone that can do everything, or are you gonna buy like a Switch?
Yeah, it's interesting times. Interesting times.
All right, let's move on to our final story. Silent Hill could be getting 2 reboots,
Oh yeah, I forgot about this one.
and apparently with the Medium dev. This is a report from VGC, but I'm getting this from GameSpot.
I look forward to playing a Silent Hill game that won't run properly on my PC.
That's only because wait. That's only because of the dual world thing.
Yeah, I know.
It's complicated. Anyway, the report compiled by VGC suggests that Konami might be preparing 2 different reboots of the popular horror franchise, with one already well into development at a Japanese studio. Blooper Team, the developer of the Medium, could potentially be working on the other, with CEO Piotr Babinyo confirming that the studio has been working on a horror IP from a, quote, very famous gaming publisher.
No.
End quote.
What if that horror IP is just like a Castlevania reboot? Because that's also Konami.
Oh yeah, I guess so. Is that considered horror?
Action adventure,
Oh,
maybe
okay.
a little bit of gothic. It has gothic and its macabre elements in it, but I wouldn't call it hair raising horror.
It's also funny to say a very famous gaming publisher. While Konami is famous, it's like kind of fallen in recent years here.
They fell by the wayside. Their pachinko machines have taken over their Excel sheets.
This would line up with other hints that Blooper might be working on its own Silent Hill entry. Earlier this year, famed Silent Hill composer, do you know this name? Akira Yamakai?
Yeah, it's from Silent Hill 2. It's most famous for that one.
He confirmed that he was working with Blooper on another game outside of the Medium.
That's probably Silent Hill. They're probably doing Silent Hill. Because he did the Silent Hill 2 soundtrack.
Yeah.
Amazing piece of music. That opening... I could have a separate conversation just about that soundtrack alone.
Here's what's funny, though. He appeared on a video where he teased a project he described as, quote, the one you've been hoping to hear about.
Yeah,
and
Castlevania!
The video was quickly taken offline. With Konami denying involvement.
Oh, Nelly.
I always like those ones.
So Half-Life 3.
No, they have Half-Life Alex. It could be that they are just kind of pushing they're slowly pushing two different games in 2 very different directions and seeing which one they like. They could say, okay, drop dead date, both studios show us what you have, and then they'll decide which one to kind of front and maybe kill the other one. So they could be...
Who developed the first one?
It's Konami in-house. It's Konami proper.
Oh, like a Konami studio did it?
Yeah. Yeah. Silent Hill games, the first 3 are pretty fantastic. I highly recommend them.
You know, this gives me a small hope that MGS is not dead.
Oh, Ryan.
Just give me my hope.
Ryan, fine.
If you get Silent Hill, I could get MGS, right?
But Ryan, based on this though, what's more likely, Silent Hill or MGS?
Well, no, we don't have any rumor of MGS. Silent Hill is probably likely happening.
I just hope Norman Reedus isn't in it.
But you hope Norman Reedus isn't in MGS?
No, Silent Hills.
Oh,
I don't think he would go back to working with Konami. He's buddies with Kojima now, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's got to be said, he is a really good Sam Porter Bridges, actually.
Is there another Sam Porter Bridges?
There isn't, but I mean, he fits that role really well.
Because that world is very dreary, and all the actors are like kind of like dreary, and they all fit in. It's a definitely a cohesive presentation.
Yeah, actually, like he doesn't look like Norman Reedus was cast. Like obviously it is Norman Reedus and looks like him, but do you know what I'm trying to say? Like if there was an event like that made a world like that, he's a believable character in that world.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think he would go back to Silent Hills because he was kind of like a standout. They were sort of like, what the hell? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's funny because when you play that PT teaser, You go to the bathroom, like it's all that schmuck on the mirror, placed just the right way so you can't see see your character's model, and then they. The 4 days it took to figure that out, and then it's revealed Norman Reedus was in the house the entire time.
We have like 3 hours of footage of us not knowing to press the X button.
When?
Playing PT.
Oh, yeah.
There was a blue X, and like I think I looked it up, and it was horrible.
Well, the actual ending, it took. They said people figured it out faster than they thought it would because it had to do with the microphone. It was your vocal reaction. That if you happen to have your mic, confirmed? Yeah, I think that's what they ended up. I think from what I remember reading, that's what it was. It's the input on the microphone. If you had it plugged into the PlayStation controller, was determined how you got out.
That's actually scary.
Yeah.
I wonder if I remember Mark Hamill talking about how George Lucas likes to cast people who are very similar to their roles, so he doesn't have to direct them too much. I wonder if Kojima might be the same way, where he cast Norman Reedus to be kind of Norman Reedus.
Norman
in that
Reedus,
world.
yeah, I can believe it.
All right, that's all we got for this week. Thanks for joining us. You can catch us weekly on Wednesdays around 8:30ish. We're streaming on Twitch, twitch.tv/DayOnePatchMedia.
The Sea of Thieves lately. That's what we're getting going.
Like we playing Sea of Thieves, yeah.
Yeah, I need my ancient coins. You gotta level up.
We will see you guys next time.
Peace!